So we have a awesome problem to have. And we broached this topic 6 weeks ago. I saw this coming a mile away. You saw it coming a mile away. We have a Josh Jacobs problem. And the problem is, at the time, last offseason, we did not give him his fifth-year option, right? Rookie contract, fifth-year option. He'll be a free agent at the end of the season. And we all agreed unanimously that was the right move. He gets hurt every year, basically a two-down back. There's just so many good, cheap running backs everywhere. Devontae Booker had a higher yards per carry than Josh Jacobs in the season they played together. So it's like, I mean, come on, like $10 million back, an $800,000 back, and there's basically the same production. It seemed like a no-brainer, right? Now he's going off. He is the NFL rushing leader out of everybody. Not Nick Chubb, not Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Joshua fucking Raider boy Jacobs, 1,159 yards, and we're in week 13.
Yeah, man, he's killing it.
9 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry. So we basically have 3 options, right? We can give him an extension at any time, right? We can go to his agent with an offer and say, be a Raider for X number of years.
What do you think?
Raiders can franchise tag him. And the number of that franchise tag I've seen as low as like $9.5 million, and I've seen it as high as $12.5 million. It's the average of the top 5. So it's gonna, not exactly sure what that number is, but it's somewhere between 9 and like 13, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's that high. I think it's lower.
I've seen varying. It's somewhere in there, 9 to 13. I'm kind of leaning towards the 9.5.
Yeah.
Or number 3, we let him hit the open market, and he signs anywhere, right? I think what everybody wants is for us to extend him now, or ASAP, or kind of a handshake deal before the season's over, whatever it may be. The question is, what would that number look like? And would Josh Jacobs' agent be stupid enough to let his client not hit the open market after the season he's having?
Well, it's not all about what the agent wants. If Josh Jacobs does make it a priority to the agent saying, yeah, I do want to stay here, and if they're willing to negotiate now, because look, man, Josh Jacobs knows any play could be his last.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, I want to stay here. If they're willing to negotiate during the season, let's see what we can do. Honestly, I think that we can maybe even get away with making that first year kind of like we pick up this 5th year, and then have it, increase from there as the salary cap increases, and kind of like finagle it a little bit, similar to what we did with Carr's contract. So that we do have options, and I think I'm very conflicted about this, because you don't pay running backs, you don't pay them long term, but damn, on one side I'm like, dude, he's a special back. He's showing us how special he is, but why does he have to wait till a contract year to fucking show us? You know what I'm saying?
I've tweeted it, and I talked about it in the last show. I'm like, can we have him have a contract? Can we turn down his 5th-year option every year? It's like,
this is what pisses me off about athletes. It's like, just don't give me this shit. Like, we all know it's a contract year, and now you decide, and it happens all the freaking time.
Yeah,
it's like, why can't you just do this and just give us a little bit more of a peace of mind? Honestly, like, I'm leaning towards trying to sign a shorter term contract with him, or something that we can get out of in a couple of years. But I don't know if it's going to work out, because you just don't pay running backs like that. Like, if he's shown us that he's been a Derrick Henry type, I'm not saying Derrick Henry exactly, but like a guy who and then Derrick Henry did get hurt last year. He came back this year, and he's number 2 in the league right now, or number 3?
And he's been doing it for what, 5 seasons now? Like consistently been a top 5 running back for 5 seasons in a row, right? Like he's got a longer track record.
Well, like if you pay like a Nick Chubb, he does every year. He does it. Like you pay Henry every year. He does it. Saquon Barkley's back. He already got paid, so now he's showing you, hey, when he's healthy, this is what you're gonna get. McCaffrey's back. He's healthy, but there's not a lot of backs like that. It's just this whole one season of doing it thing, and I understand. Look, 1,000 yards in 16 games, it's like 67 yards a game. It's not that many yards per game to hit 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
But having hit 1,100 yards in what 11 games
yards per carry.
Yeah,
featured back,
and all the receiving yards.
He gets like 85% of our rush yards.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, can you count on it? And I understand a lot of the fans out there, like they love Jacobs. I knew he was this guy. I knew he could be this guy. Yeah, he can be this guy, but how often he is this guy? Can he be this guy every single year, or 3 out of 4? Because that's what you're banking on if you're paying him all this money.
And I don't ever want to bring up the I word, but this is the first year he hasn't gotten injured. I mean, he gets injured multiple times every season in multiple spots. It's not like he's got this like lingering shoulder issue or lingering knee issue. It's like this weird chest thing, and then it's an ankle thing, and then it's something else random. And this was going back to college. In college, he got injured multiple times too, and he wasn't even the lead back at Bama. Like he wasn't even getting he's a 30 carry a game dude. It's like, no, he's getting injured in a running back by committee. So that's still always a lingering thing. And I can, I just keep having these like post-traumatic stress of this Darren Waller contract or
Renfro.
With Jake, you have to make a decision, right? We either lose him or keep him. With Waller, It's like he had 2 years left on his contract. We still extended him, and then he hasn't given us a full game since. It's like,
yeah. And look at Renfro. Renfro, it's like it was a little bit of fool's gold. I'm not saying he's not a good receiver, but he's not the type of. I mean, what happened when you don't need to pay a Hunter Renfro that much money if you have a Devontae Adams, because that guy's going to get most of your looks, and you can get away with having like a Mac Hollins or a different type of guy. You don't need to have a Hunter Renfro like that kind of money.
The ice cream truck just drive through your living room right now?
It's my alarm. It's 9 p.m. I need to start winding it down.
I would love to have the ice cream truck song in my life more.
Like that?
That should be my wake up alarm, because you're never going to be sad when you hear the ice cream truck. You know what I mean? Instead of like it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a couple big sticks. It's the best.
Yeah, I bet you do like them do big sticks.
Yeah,
no, that's the thing is like, okay, I understand a lot of the people on the chats are like, oh, you gotta sign him. I knew he was this back and this and that, blah blah blah. Okay, you knew he was, but it took him to his 4th year to be that guy. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't good a couple of years, those 1,000-yard seasons, but again, hitting 1,000 yards is not. It's not if you're like the lead back, he doesn't have these type of back. He's like not a committee here. He is your lead rusher. He's your lead back, right? It's not like, let's say, for example, the Cowboys, where they have Zeke and they have Pollard, that they split carries, right? He's your guy, right? So to get 1,000 yards it's almost like saying he made the Pro Bowl. It's like, dude, like 9 people in the same position make the Pro Bowl every single year. So it's like all pro is like, okay, that's something. Pro Bowl is like, okay, fucking, Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl. Like, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think so. I don't think it's that big of an accomplishment as it was previously. So when you have like, when guys are telling me in the comments, like, oh yeah, you have to pay him. He's this back and he's this and he's that. Yeah. But if you get it every 4 years, is it worth it?
It also comes down to like, all right, let's say you do pick him up. Well, let's just say you franchise tag him, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say for the sake of argument, $10 million, right? Franchise tag, 10 mil next season, right? Out the door. Then you got to make a choice. Did we trade Waller to free up that space? Did we trade Renfro to free up that space? Did we trade Carr to free up that space? That's the question you're asking. It's like, okay, what are we giving up to pay a running back $10 million who has a massive history of being super injury prone? That's the sacrifices you make. Like, and I get it, right? After after Sunday's performance, 303 yards. Like that was one of the greatest rushing performances I have ever witnessed in my life. This isn't hyperbole. In the NFL, of NFL games I watched, that was one of the most brilliant performances I've ever had to witness in a game I watched start to finish. Absolutely unbelievable.
And the thing is a lot of times people will say, well, yeah, a good offensive line will make a regular back seem like a good back. Well, this is him getting yards after contact. Like he's dragging guys for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
stiff
yards
arming nose tackles.
God, like he's doing a lot of this on his own.
And he's doing the stuff that he had never done before. Breaking one for 30, breaking one for 86. That was something he never did before.
Yeah, showing that pop. Yeah.
He was always a great bruiser between the tackles. What should be a 3-yard rush, he turns into a 6, right? Like his pass blocking has gotten better. His catching has gotten better. And now it's like the one thing he never was good at, he did twice in Sunday's game.
Yeah, and so
he's legit.
That's
what makes it so difficult. He's super legit. Great teammate. Team love. He's got a Raider fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the saving grace. Because it's I think we romanticize players' relationships to their teams too much. I think we, because we have that and sometimes it's tough to relate. These guys, it's a business. And there's varying degrees of exceptions, right? Derek Carr had a random, very rare, almost never exception, semi-team friendly deal. But Devontae Adams, he wanted to play for the Raiders, but he also made him the highest paid receiver in football too. So it's like,
but he also gave up more money with the Packers, right? So he did want to come here.
That's what I'm saying. Like he took a 5% pay cut to play where he wanted, right? Which is
money's money, bro.
This is like normal humans. Like I'm the same way. Like with my work, money's a big thing. It's the biggest thing. But would I take like 10% less to be able to work from home instead of have an hour and a half commute? Absolutely. Like that quality. So it's like things like that, right? Like there's varying degrees. So I'm hoping that 10% is Josh Jacobs wanting to stay with Las Vegas, right? So if some team doubles his salary, like he's gone, right? No question. But if there's, a team wants him, they're only paying like, a couple mil more. Also, Nevada doesn't have a income tax. That helps, whatever, the $300 is going to cost to cover up that Raider tat or whatever he does with it, right? Like that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we get we're not going to get a massive discount, but hopefully he's like, you know what? I like it here. I'm going to stick around and I'll take a tiny shot in the bank account to be able to stay where I want.
So here's the argument for franchise tagging. It gives you another season to negotiate during the season. So if you talk to actually what it does is it gives you a longer negotiation period before free agency.
And it basically artificially creates another contract year, which
Correct.
is where Josh Jacobs thrives, apparently.
Correct. So if you see it 2 years in a row under the franchise tag, if let's say this time next season he has a similar impact, then you can go ahead and feel a little bit more comfortable in extending him for a longer term for more dollars. But I just dude, I have like nightmares about like the Zeke contract, you know what I'm saying? And like all the years, because like Tony Pollard is a better back than freaking Zeke. He is. He's better. He's just as good a runner in between the tackles. He's got more pop. He's a better receiver. He's faster. He doesn't get hurt. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough because I get nightmares because of that. I get nightmares because of before this season, what McCaffrey's been going through, like missed basically 2 seasons. Barkley, the same thing, missed basically, majority of 2 seasons. It's tough, man. It's tough. Look at Todd Gurley, same thing. He got paid in autumn or just right away gets hurt and is a shell of himself. So I don't know, man. It's really tough. And like the rule is don't fall in love with the running back. And
it's a brutal position. He has a brutal running style, and he has a brutal history with injuries. And again, like the thing that always comes back to me is Devontae Booker had almost a yard per carry higher than Josh Jacobs does. Now, I'm not saying Devontae Booker's better. I'm just saying undrafted free agent for like $800,000 a season, $10 million running back. Is Josh Jacobs 12 times the player of a Devontae Booker? No.
One thing we can do, though, we can look at is if this is a big if, okay, and I'm qualifying it with the if here, okay, guys, so don't fucking kill me here. If this coaching staff really does believe in the young players on the offensive line, you can kind of say, okay, because we're not paying these young guys a lot of money and still developing that line, it would be better to use that money on Jacobs because of his running style and his ability to make yards after contact.
Yeah.
That's really one of the only things I can see. But other than that, man, like if you're having to pay a lot of money to beef up this offensive line, then you just can't you can't spend a lot of money on the running back.
So there's one good thing going for us. Well, there's a bunch of good things going for us, but us Raider fans, right?
We're so handsome.
Yep,
That's
one of the things. Josh Jacobs is going to have a lot of competition next year. Here's a look at the 2023 free agent running back class. These are all players that are set to be free agents next season. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard, David Montgomery, Kareem Hunt, Jamal Williams, Damian Harris, Jeff Wilson Jr., Devin Singletary, Raheem Mostert, and Rashad Penny.
Dude, there's 5 guys on there that are legit starters that aren't starting right now.
Those are 12
Pollard,
awesome running backs.
Hunt, I guess Jamal Williams is a starter right now. He wasn't, but now he is. Damian Harris and Rashad Penny because he's hurt. Those guys are legit starting level caliber running backs in this league that aren't starting right now. Well, I guess 4 not because Jamal's starting. But dude, there's a lot of competition out there.
And this is the thing is like if GMs are starting to kind of think more and more along the lines of like, don't pay big name running backs. There's like, look at this list. Like there's just so many guys like available, right? And that doesn't include, the next draft class coming up, got, guys that aren't right. It's like, if you need a running back, if you're a GM and you're like, I need a starting running back, you're in a great spot. You have a million options. You could, right? That's what I'm hoping more than anything keeps Josh Jacobs in Las Vegas. The fact that hopefully the market that he wants isn't out there the way that maybe he thinks it is. Now, if you're the NFL leading rusher, you're going to have offers, right? You're unquestionably going to have offers. But you're a GM, you got a ton of options. And that's the few GMs that are saying, okay, I'm willing to spend big money on a running back. That's just the handful of GMs are like, yeah, I'll dump big money into it, as opposed to this trend of undrafted free agents behind a decent line and a smart OC can put up 90% of the production of a $10 million back.
So there's one name on here that really worries me.
Okay.
And the reason why he worries me is because he's going to set a very high bar if indeed he does re-sign with his team. Why would a team do that? Because it's a team that's on the ascend. It's a team that's looking to build a culture. It's looking to send a strong message to the team. And that's Saquon Barkley. If you're the New York Giants, I don't think building off of this success that you're having right now and having him be such a big part of your offense, I don't think you can let him walk out of the building. Because you're wanting to build that culture and send that message to the players. Hey, if you ball out, we'll take care of our own type of thing. And
another injury-prone back.
Yeah, but he's showing again in the contract year, he's showing that he can stay healthy and he can produce and be basically their offense. He's basically their offense.
Yeah.
So if he signs, it's going to be big money, man, and that's going to make Josh Jacobs be like, I can get big money too. So that's the one that really worries me.
Now, this is what I would do. We'll wrap this up here in a second.
Wrap it up, B.
Dave Ziegler, right? This is where he really needs to wow us. He shit the bed with Darren Waller, shit the bed with Chandler Jones. Jury's still out. Jury's still out with Renfro for me. I know you're
Renfro hasn't he's got more fumbles and touchdowns this year.
Yeah, it was concussed ones. It's not normally his thing. But you're right. But like, look, the results are on the field, right? Or not on the field because he's not on the field, right? This is his chance to say, like, oh, here's something I'm good at, right? Let me take a complicated, reading the market situation and see what I can come up with. So I think this is what I think they should do. I think they should franchise tag him and trade him. But that is also dependent on where the market is going, like you said. If Saquon Barkley gets a $60 million 3-year deal and Miles Sanders gets a $40 million, right? Like if all these running backs start getting paid and you notice teams are hurting for, a star, he's going to be an an all-pro running back. You franchise tag him and trade him. I think that's the move. Get something out of him without having to pay, $9 to $13 million for him. I think that's obviously the best move would be, offer Jacobs a contract we think he'd accept, and he does. That's something we can deal with. But barring that, franchise, trade.
Yeah, it'd have to be a contract that would offer us flexibility, not necessarily flexibility of having him under contract later, but flexibility to kind of move the numbers around a little bit in the future.
Some injury guarantees maybe in there, like if
injury guarantees. Also, and the thing is injury guarantees aren't a huge deal as huge a deal as they were in the past, because a lot of these players do carry their own injury insurance.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be a good test to see what Ziegler and Champ are made of, because it's going to be very difficult to let him walk. It's going to be very difficult to sign him into a contract that's going to be conducive to building a roster. And it's at a position that's not a premium.
Congratulations for making it all the way to the end of our video. If you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes next season and for Max Crosby to have 30 sacks, go ahead and subscribe and click the next video.